All right, you marvelous time travelers, grab your fluffiest pillow, snuggle under those covers, and let's bolt back to muddy, candlelit streets of medieval Europe. It's time to crash a world where beauty wasn't just a vibe. It was a full-on crusade, complete with toxic face goop, shoes that could skewer a rat, and foreheads so big they deserve their own zip code. Picture this. You're waking up in a creaky wooden bed, straw poking your ribs, a rooster screaming like it's auditioning for a bard's ballad. Your mission? To look so jaw-droppingly stunning you make a duke choke on his mead, or a monk scribble a frantic prayer. But here's the twist, these beauty rules. They're bonkers, brutal, and built to break you. From poisoning yourself for a ghostly glow to teetering in boots that scream, I'm fancy but might faceplant. Medieval beauty was a high-stakes game. So, smash that like button if you're ready to leap into this chaos. Drop a comment with your city and time zone. Shout out to my 3 a.m. crew in Karachi, London, or wherever you're chilling. And let's dive into this medieval makeover mayhem. Close your eyes, smell the lavender and livestock, and let's roll. Dawn's barely cracking, and you're already panicking. Is my face pale enough to pass for a noble, or do I look like I just wrestled a pig? In medieval Europe, pale skin was your golden ticket to respect. A tan screamed, I'm out here hauling hay with the peasants, while a milky complexion purred. I sip wine in a castle and haven't seen sunlight since last Lent. The sun was your mortal enemy. No sunscreen, no shades, just you dodging rays like a thief fleeing a guard. Nobles went wild for that porcelain look, and their tricks would make a modern spa shudder. Meet Venetian ceruse, the VIP of face creams, a mix of lead and vinegar that left you glowing like a moonbeam and slowly rotting your nerves. Slather it on, and you're the belle of the ball, until your hands shake, your skin peels, or you keel over from lead poisoning. Worth it? Maybe. Peasants got that pale and tragic vibe for free, courtesy of hunger and zero vitamin D. No lead budget? No worries. Slap on some flour, smear egg whites, or mash chalk into your cheeks for a budget glow that smells vaguely like a bakery gone wrong. And get this, veins were hot. Want to slay at the market? Grab a quill, dip it in blue ink, and sketch delicate lines on your temples to fake that I'm so delicate I might faint noble vibe. Some ladies even drape gauzy veils to amplify the effect, drifting through feasts like ghosts with trust funds. Historians still squabble. Was this pale craze just about flexing wealth, or did it tie to purity, like saints glowing in church windows? Either way, you're clutching linen scraps as sun shields, praying a stray beam doesn't tank your dowry prospects. Juicy gossip. Ever hear of Lady Beatrice of York? Legend says she bled herself with leeches to drain her rosy cheeks, then swooned at a tourney and knocked over a knight's lance. Talk about commitment. Cheeky tidbit. Some smeared arsenic paste for extra pallor, because nothing says I'm thriving like a touch of poison. Scholars debate if this was widespread or just noble nonsense, but village healers definitely side-eyed it. Bedtime banner. Would you risk a lead-faced mask to dazzle the court, or rock the peasant tan with pride? Whisper your choice to the stars as you drift off. The forehead frontier, bigger is better. You're squinting into a foggy bronze mirror, candlelight dancing, and yikes, your hairline's way too close to your brows. In medieval courts, a forehead as wide as a king's banquet table was the ultimate power move. Forget subtle tweaks. This was full-on brow deforestation. Ladies plucked, shaved, and slathered on stinging salves to shove their hairlines halfway to their crowns, turning their faces into blank slates for admiration. Why the forehead fever? A towering brow screamed, I'm not churning butter in a hovel. It was a noble woman's flex, separating her from village girls with practical bangs. Flip through 15th century art. Think Elizabeth Woodville's regal portraits, and you'll see foreheads so smooth they could double as parchment. Artists weren't joking. They were painting a dream. You're wincing as your maid yanks out hairs. Each pluck a badge of status. But one slip and you're sporting red welts or a bald patch. Glamorous? More like medieval torture. Saucy story. Rumor has it Lady Agnes of Kent overplucked before a royal wedding, leaving her forehead looking like a plucked chicken. She hid under a jeweled hood for weeks, sparking a trend for emergency veils. Weird trick. Beauty manuals swore by walnut oil, burnt barley, or hold your nose. Cat dung paste to stop hair regrowth. Imagine choosing between stubble and smelling like a barn cat's litter box. Scholars argue these recipes were half joke, half desperation, but surviving texts don't lie. Men jumped in too. Knights smoothed their hairlines to look brainy. Because nothing says, I'm a scholar warrior, like a forehead you could map a kingdom on. Was this trend born in snooty French courts, or just another way to scream, I'm rich? Historians can't agree, but you're plucking away, dreaming of dazzling a duke while your scalp screams for mercy. Sleepy spiel. Picture yourself at a feast, forehead gleaming like a cathedral dome. Would you flaunt that five-head, or hide the redness under a cap? Let the thought lull you to Snoozeville. Now let's talk hair. You're wrestling a bone comb through your tangles, praying for locks that shimmer like a knight's armor, because in medieval Europe, hair was your superpower. For women, long, glossy tresses were a crown you wore daily. Single gals let them flow to snag suitors, while wives tucked them under veils to avoid scandalous side eyes. Men had their own hair sagas. Knights rocked flowing manis to rival their stallions. Monks shaved tonsures like bald badges of holiness, and merchants flaunted curls to fake noble blood. No salon, no stress. If you're fancy, you're rinsing with rosemary water or chamomile for that golden glow. If not, harsh lye soap turns your hair into a haystack. Lice are your uninvited guests. So you're combing like a maniac, muttering curses as nits scatter. Can't grow hair past your shoulders? Cheat. Hair pieces, woven from goat, horse, or even human hair, swiped from brushes or barber's floors, were the medieval equivalent of clip-in extensions. Spicy scandal. At a 1420 banquet, Lady Joan's horsehair wig slipped mid-dance, revealing a patchy scalp. She laughed it off, claiming bald is bold, and started a short-lived trend for cropped locks. Creepy custom. Some saved shed hair to stuff into rats. Padded buns for extra volume. Picture braiding your bun with last year's fallout. Chic or straight up weird. Village girls didn't care. They wove flowers or ribbons for festivals. Proving beauty wasn't just for nobles. Dyeing was a gamble. Saffron turned hair gold, if you could afford it. Walnut husks gave a chestnut sheen, and lye bleached it blonde or fried it to a crisp. One bad batch, and you're rocking a patchy mane that smells like a stable. Historians bicker. Did peasants mock these noble fads, or did they secretly try them? Either way, you're braiding your locks, hoping they catch the light at tonight's bonfire. Dreamy dare. Imagine your medieval hairdo. Wild curls, tight braids, or a sneaky wig. What's your vibe? Let it weave through your dreams. You're wrestling into a gown, gasping as your maid yanks the laces so tight your ribs creak like a ship's hull. Welcome to the medieval waistline wars, where a tiny silhouette was your ticket to oohs and ahs. Forget modern corsets. Those come later. Here, you're stuffing dresses with reeds, flax, or even dried moss to fake an hourglass figure. Fitted gowns like the coat-hardy cling to your torso, screaming, I'm too dainty to lift a bucket, while your lungs beg for mercy. Noble ladies skip supper to stay fragile, fainting mid-prayer from hunger or overzealous lacing. One chronicler snarked about a countess who laced so tight she wheezed through vespers. Peasants? Their sturdy, fieldwork-honed bodies didn't match the frail ideal, so they stuck to loose tunics, practical but still judged. Illuminated manuscripts show wasp-waisted women, half art, half fantasy, while girls train with books on their heads or boards strapped to their backs for spine-snapping posture. Hilarious hack. No laces? Some painted shadowy lines on their skin to fake a slimmer waist. Medieval contouring, baby. Other stuff padding at hips or shoulders for that perfect pear shape. Wild tale. At a 1380s feast, a merchant's wife overstuffed her bum roll, waddling like a duck. Her rival quipped, she's smuggling a barrel, and the nickname stuck for years. Men weren't spared. Courtiers aimed for a lean, athletic look. Muscles were fine, but peasant bulk was a no-no. Belts, slung low with gem-encrusted buckles, doubled as status symbols and waist cinchers. Historians argue, were these body ideals universal or just elite nonsense? At the village fair, you're lacing up, praying you don't faint before the maypole dance. Snooze spark. Picture yourself in a tight gown, twirling at a feast. Would you loosen the laces or keep the illusion? Let the image rock you to sleep. Footwear fiasco. pointy-toed pain. Your feet are screaming before you leave your hut. And why? Because medieval beauty demanded dainty feet, crammed into pointy-toed polanes. Shoes so absurdly long they needed whalebone tips to stay perky. We're talking 6, 8, even 18 inches past your toes. Too extra? You might face a fine or get your tips snipped by a smirking sheriff. Women teetered on platform patins, wooden stilts that kept skirts mud-free, but wobbled like a drunken ox. Men? They flaunted long toes to prove it in plow fields, stuffing wool or sand to keep the shape. Epic flop. Sir Roland of Sussex, legend says, tripped on his polanes mid-joust, landing in a mud puddle. His squire blamed curse fashion, but the crowd roared with laughter. Sneaky prank. Jesters loved slipping pebbles into rivals' shoes, forcing them to hobble through banquets with gritted teeth. Imagine smiling through that torture. Historians debate, were these torture devices daily wear or just for flexing at feasts? Villages stuck to sturdy boots, but at court, pointer meant posture. You're limping through the market, blisters blooming, but your status is soaring. Dreamy dilemma. Slip into those polanes. Would you strut like a peacock or curse every step? Let the thought tiptoe you to sleep. Teeth troubles. A sugary status symbol. You're eyeing a tray of candied figs, but your jaw's throbbing like a war drum. In medieval Europe, teeth told tales. Sugar, rarer than gold, was a rich person's vice. So blackened, crumbling teeth bizarrely screamed, "I'm loaded." Some ladies faked it, smearing charcoal to mimic the elite's decay, because nothing says fancy like a rotting grin. Dental care? Picture chewing twigs, rinsing with vinegar, or scrubbing with ground oyster shells. Toothache? The barber surgeon's pliers await with no numbing, just a swig of ale and a prayer. Gap teeth dubbed witches' windows. We're lucky in France, even flirty. Gross cure. One remedy tied a live frog to your jaw to draw out pain. Spoiler. It just made you smell swampy. Another swore garlic tucked in your cheek worked wonders. Good luck with that first kiss. Odd trend. In some villages, kids knocked out a tooth on purpose for luck, grinning gap-toothed at weddings. Historians wonder, were bad teeth shrugged off, or did folks envy the riches rot? You're chomping tough rye, praying your molars survive. Snooze spiel. Flash a gapped, lucky smile in your mind's eye. Would you own it or hide it? Let the image lull you to rest. Brow bonanza. Pluck, paint, or perish. Your brows are too there. Late medieval Europe had brow drama. Nobles plucked or shaved them to wisps, stretching that forehead to celestial heights. Paintings show queens with brows like faint whispers, pure and posh. But in sunny Italy or Spain, bold, painted brows ruled, drawn with soot-burnt almonds or lamp-blackened arches that screamed, "Look at me." Brow-thinning recipes were wild. Honey, vinegar, or, pumice stone, leaving your face raw as a butcher's block. Some painted brows in crazy shapes, like startled sparrows. Men dabbled. Shading brows for portraits to look soulful. Face bomb fiasco. Lady Cecily of Devon leaned too close to a candle while plucking, singeing her brow clean off. She painted a wobbly line for a month, sparking snickers at court. Sassy style. In Mediterranean towns, unibrows were sensual, but northerners mocked them as caterpillar faces. Village gals kept thick brows to catch sweat, laughing at noble fads. Historians ponder, were bare brows about holiness or just courtly flexing? You're tweezing, praying for perfection. Dreamy dare. Picture your medieval brows, ghostly, bold, or unibrowed. What's your pick? Let it shape your dreams. Skincare shenanigans. Glow or gross. Your skin's your canvas. And medieval skincare was a dicey masterpiece. Blemishes scream poor or sinful, so you're slathering lead paste, chalk, or bone dust mixed with rose water for a flawless mask and a slow death. Herbal rinses, lavender, mint, soothe, but others like snail slime or frog's pawn promise miracles with a side of stench. Nobles dry bathed, rubbing herb-soaked linens to dodge water's evil spirits. Peasants splashed in streams when they could, but dirt was a fact of life. Wacky ritual. Some swore by celestial water. Dawn dew collected with a chant for radiant skin. Magic or just damp. You tell me, Nasty nickname. A knight dubbed Sir Poxface hid his scars under lead cream, only collapsed at a tourney from poisoning. His rival quipped, "Beauty slew him first." Historians argue, was skincare freedom or a trap? For some, it was power over flaws. For others, a toxic cage. You're scrubbing, dodging dirt, and dreaming of a clear face. Snooze spark. Imagine your medieval skincare, snail goo or rose water. What's your potion? Let it soothe you to sleep. Royal razzle-dazzle. Trends and tantrums. You're at court, and the queen's new braid is hotter gossip than a dragon sighting. Royals rule the beauty game. Pale skin, long hair, belts dripping gems, and everyone scrambled to mimic them. When and a Brittany's ears poked out in portraits, suddenly elf ears were chic. Henry VIII's burly frame, courtiers padded doublets to fake his bulk. Portraits and coins spread these trends of villages, where kids carved dolls to match princesses. But rebels stirred trouble. Some duchesses ditched finery for plain shifts, gasping the court. Petty prank. The queen's spaniel rocked silk ribbons, dodging sumptuary laws. If a dog can flex, why not you? One lord glued gems to his mule for laughs, banned from court for a month. Bold move. A Welsh lady shaved her head, protest marriage, donating her locks to a church. Her suitor fled, but bards sang her tale for years. Historians debate, did royal trends inspire or oppress? Your eye in the courtly parade, wondering if you conform or go rogue. Dreamy dilemma. Picture yourself at court, mimicking the king or breaking rules. What's your move? Let it dance through your dreams. Your reflection shows a dimpled cheek, blessing or hex. Medieval folks love quirks. Dimples meant joy. A unibrow signaled brains in Spain, but mockery in Scotland. Moles? One was flirty. Too many, and you're dodging witch trial glares. Gap teeth were lucky in France. Red hair magical yet cursed in Slavic tales. Charms like coral beads or churchyard dirt promised perfect skin. Some rubbed snow on babies' faces for luck. Cute or creepy. Odd obsession. In Normandy, a hooked nose was noble, but in Bavaria, it sparked snickers. One knight's hawkish snout earned him the nickname Sir Beak, yet he wooed a duchess. Superstition scoop. Sleeping with a hazel twig under your pillow was said to smooth wrinkles. Historians wonder, did quirks shape fates, or were they just tavern talk? You're tracing your dimples, wondering what they'd mean in a medieval inn. Snooze spiel. Imagine your quirk, mole, gap, or dimple, winning hearts or sparking whispers. What's your story? Let it lull you. Sense seduction. Smells that slay. The air's a soup of lavender smoke, and, yep, cow dung. In medieval Europe, scent was your secret weapon. Nobles dab rose water or must a scream, "I'm posh," while peasants crush mint or sage for a festival glow. Bathing? Dicey, water might let in bad spirits. Instead, you're rubbing herbal linens, dusting lavender powder, or tucking clove sachets in your sleeves. Pomanders, spiked oranges stuffed with spices, dangle from belts, warding off plague and wowing the crowd. Even your pillow gets a rose water spritz for sweet dreams. Smelly scandal. A lord's musk-soaked cloak was so potent, it cleared a banquet hall. His wife quipped, "He smells richer than he is." Funky fix. Eating parsley sweetened sweat, but garlic? Kiss killer. Historians debate. Were medieval noses tougher, or did they fight stink with every herb? You're sniffing, hoping your scent says noble, not stable. Dreamy dare. Pick your medieval scent, rose, clove, or mint. What's your signature? Let waft you to sleep. Makeup mayhem. Paint or perish. You're brushing lead paste on your cheeks, praying it hides your freckles, and doesn't send you to an early grave. Medieval makeup was a high wire act. White powders for skin, cochineal beetles for rosy cheeks, soot for fluttery lashes. Some rub beets for a natural flush. Others risk mercury for a killer glow. Too much paint? The church called you a harlot. Too little? You're fading into the tapestries. Sneaky sabotage. At 1450's feast, a rival swapped Lady Maud's rouge for soot. She strutted in with black cheeks, oblivious, until a mirror sparked her shriek. Bold beauty. Some village girls mixed berry juice with lard for lip gloss, laughing at noble powders. Historians argue, was makeup defiance or a leash? You're dabbing rouge, hoping it lasts the dance. Snooze spark. Picture your medieval makeup. Beat lips or lead glow. What's your look? Let it paint your dreams. Church's beauty brawl. Holy or heresy, you're in church. And the priest side-eyeing your ribbon braid. Beauty was a tightrope in medieval Christianity. God's gift or Satan's snare. Saints glowed with pale perfection, but vanity was a one-way ticket to Sermon Central. Nuns rinsed with rose water to mimic holy radiance, while preachers ran against mirrors as devil's portals. Some saints rubbed ashes on their faces to dodge suitors, earning halos for humility. Ordinary folks, they blessed ribbons with holy water, balancing faith and flair. Holy hack. Mirrors engraved with prayers let you primp and pray. Medieval multitasking. Rebel nun. Sister Clare of Tours wove flowers into her veil, claiming God loves beauty. She was scrubbing floors for a month. Historians debate. Did the church cage beauty or set it free? You're praying your new hat doesn't land you in confession. Dreamy dilemma. Balance piety and prettiness. Hide your braid or flaunt it. What's your choice? Let it guide your dreams. Fairy tale fever. Dreams and nightmares. You're by a crackling fire, hearing tales of princesses with snow-white skin and eyes like stars. Medieval stories set impossible standards. Swan maidens, golden knights. Beauties whose glow stopped wars. Girls left flowers at springs for fairy tale luck, while bards sang of love breaking curses. But beauty could doom. Proud maidens turned to beasts, saved only by tears. Magical myth. Sleeping with a tale book under your pillow promised beauty. No proof, but cozy vibes. Tragic twist. A Breton tale warned a vain knight whose mirror trapped his soul. Historians wonder, did tales comfort or crush? You're dreaming of a moon-faced heroine. Maybe it's you. Snooze spiel. Picture yourself in a fairy tale. Hero, villain, or cursed. What's your role? Let it lull you. Village vibes. Ordinary folks. Epic beauty. You're a baker. Hands flour-dusted. Face sun-kissed. Courtly ideals. Silky hair, tiny waist are a distant joke. Yet beauty's spark reaches your hamlet. You dab berry juice on your lips for a wedding. Braid will scraps for luck. Some mock noble fads, painting fake moles to tease the rich or crowning the gruffest lad affairs. Clever cover. Girls muddy their faces to dodge leering lords. Beauty as armor. Festive flex. At harvest feast, villagers wove straw crowns, laughing at courtly lace. Historians argue, did standards bind villages, or did they rewrite the rules? You're dancing under starlight, your smile outshining any crown. Dreamy dare. Imagine your village beauty hack, berries, mud, or straw. What's your charm? Let it glow in your dreams. The pale skin pursuit. Glow like a ghost or bust. Dawn sneaking through your shutters, and you're already sweating. Is my face pale enough to scream Duchess, or just, I survived the plague? In medieval Europe, pale skin was your all-access pass to prestige. A tan? That's code for, I'm knee-deep in mud with the serfs. A milky complexion, though, it whispered. I lounge in tapestry halls and haven't seen the sun since last Easter. Sunlight was your arch nemesis. No SPF, no parasols. Just you dodging rays like a pickpocket fleeing a mob. Nobles chase that porcelain dream with gusto, and their methods would make a modern dermatologist weep. Enter Venetian ceruse, the rock star of face creams, a toxic sludge of lead and vinegar that left you glowing like a cathedral stained glass while quietly frying your nerves. Slather it on, and you're the toast of the tourney, until your hands tremble, your skin flakes, or you drop dead at a banquet. Totally worth it, right? Peasants scored that pale and tragic look free, thanks to hunger and sunless hovels. No coin for lead goop. Improvise. Dust your cheeks with flowers, smear egg whites, or mash chalk with spit for a budget glow that smells like a failed bakery. And here's the kicker. Veins were sexy. Want to stun the marketplace? Grab a feather quill, dip it in blue ink, and trace delicate lines on your temples to fake that I'm so frail I might swoon noble vibe. Some ladies drape gauzy veils to play up the effect, drifting through feasts like ghosts with better jewelry. In southern courts, like Aragon, they even painted faint green veins for an otherworldly edge. Think fairy princess meets vampire. Historians still bicker. Was this pale obsession pure class flex, or did it tie to spiritual purity, like saints glowing in frescoes? Either way, you're clutching linen scraps as makeshift sun shields, praying a stray beam doesn't tank your betrothal odds. Saucy scandal. Lady Beatrice of York, circa 1370, reportedly bled herself with leeches to drain her rosy cheeks, then fainted mid-tourney, toppling a knight's lance. She woke to cheers, claiming it was all for beauty. The knight, less amused. Grim gossip. Some swore by arsenic paste for extra pallor, because nothing says, I'm thriving like a dash of poison. Scholars debate if this was common, or just noble insanity, but village healers definitely roll their eyes. In Normandy, a fad for moonbathing, standing naked under a full moon promised ghostly skin. Results? Mostly goosebumps and gossip. Bedtime banner. Would you slap on lead cream to dazzle the court, or strut your peasant tan like a badge of honor? Whisper your pick to the moon as you drift off. The forehead frenzy. Go big or go home. You're hunched over a foggy bronze mirror, candlelight flickering, and, oh no, your hairline's creeping too close to your brows. In medieval courts, a forehead as vast as a king's hunting grounds was the ultimate flex. Forget subtle tweaks. This was a full-on scalp renovation. Ladies plucked, shaved, and smeared stinging salves to shove their hairlines skyward, turning their faces into blank canvases for admiration. Think of it as medieval Botox, minus the needles and plus a lot of yelping. Why the forehead fixation? A towering brow screamed, I'm not milking goats in a barn. It was a noblewoman's trump card, setting her apart from village lasses with practical bangs. Flip through 15th century art. Think Elizabeth Woodville's regal portraits or Van Eyck's serene dames, and you'll see foreheads so smooth they could host a chess match. Artists weren't doodling fantasies. They were painting the obsession. You're grimacing as you made rips-out hairs. Each pluck a step toward status, but one bad tug leaves you with red welts or a bald streak. Glamorous? More like medieval masochism. Juicy tale. Lady Agnes of Kent, 1425, overplucked before a royal betrothal, leaving her forehead raw as a plucked goose. She hid under a jeweled hood, sparking a trend for emergency veils that swept Parisian courts. Chroniclers called it the Great Brow Blunder. Nasty niche. Beauty manuals touted walnut oil, burnt barley, or, brace yourself, cat dung paste to stop hair regrowth. Picture choosing between stubble and smelling like a barnyard. In Italy, some use quicklime, risking burns for baldness. Scholars argue these recipes were half joke, half desperation, but surviving texts prove someone tried them. One German nun's diary moans about a foul paste that left her scalp angry as a boar. Men weren't immune. Knights smoothed their hairlines to look brainy, because nothing says, I'm a poet warrior like a forehead you could write a saga on. Clergy joined in, shaving brows to mimic monks' tonsures. Was this born in snooty French courts, or just another way to scream, I'm loaded? Historians can't decide, but you're plucking like a fiend, dreaming of dazzling a lord while your scalp begs for peace. Snooze spiel. Picture yourself at a banquet, forehead gleaming like a cathedral dome. Would you rock that five-head, or sneak a cap to hide the redness? Let the thought carry you to dreamland. Hair hoopla, locks that launch legends. Now let's talk hair. You're wrestling a splintery bone comb through your tangles, praying for locks that shimmer like a knight's polished shield. Because in medieval Europe, hair was your superpower. For women, long, glossy tresses were a crown you wore daily. Single gals let them flow to hook suitors, while wives tucked them under veils to dodge scandalous whispers. Men had their own hair epics. Knights flaunted manes to rival their chargers. Monks shaved tonsures like ball halos, and merchants curled their locks to fake noble blood. No shampoo, no panic. If you're posh, you're rinsing with rosemary water, chamomile for gold, or lavender for shine. If not, lye soap turns your hair into a broomstick. Lice are your constant squatters. So you're combing like a mad woman, muttering curses as nits scatter. Can't grow Rapunzel-level locks? Fake it. Hair pieces. woven from goat, horse, or human hair, snipped from brushes or barbers' floors, were medieval clip-ins. In wealthier courts, like Burgundy, they dyed wigs with saffron or indigo for a rainbow flecks. Spicy scandal. At a 1420 feast, Lady Joan's horsehair wig slid off mid-dance, revealing a patchy scalp. She laughed, proclaiming bald is bold, and sparked a short-lived craze for cropped locks in Aquitaine. Her rival, Lady Sybil, wasn't laughing. She'd sold Joan the faulty wig. Creepy custom. Some saved shed hair to stuff into rats. Padded bun for volume. Picture braiding your bun with last year's fallout. In villages, girls wove flowers, ribbons, or even straw for festivals. Proving beauty wasn't just for nobles. One Scottish lass braided heather into her hair for a wedding, earning the nickname Mormaiden and a dozen suitors. Dyeing was a crapshoot. Saffron gave gold, if you were rich. Walnut husked to chestnut glow and lye bleach it blonde or fried it to a crisp. One bad mix, and you're sporting a patchy mane that smells like a stable fire. In Slavic regions, beet juice turned hair fiery red, but it stained pillows for weeks. Historians argue, did peasants mock these fads or secretly dabble? You're braiding your locks, hoping they catch the firelight at tonight's village dance. Dreamy dare. Imagine your medieval hairdo. Wild curls, tight braids, or a sneaky wig. What's your vibe? Let it weave through your dreams. Body blitz. Squeezing into the fantasy frame. You're wrestling into a gown. Gasping as your maid yanks laces so tight your ribs groan like a drawbridge. Welcome to the medieval waistline wars, where a tiny silhouette was your ticket to gasps and glory. Forget corsets, that's later. Here, you're stuffing dresses with reeds, flax, or dried moss to fake an hourglass figure. Fitted gowns like the coat hardy or kirtle cling to your torso, screaming, I'm too dainty to carry a bucket, while your lungs beg for air. Noble ladies skip meals to stay ethereal, feigning mid-mass from hunger or overzealous lacing. A 1380s chronicler snarked about a countess who wheezed through vespers, laced tighter than a wine cask. Peasants? Their sturdy, field-work-honed bodies didn't fit the frail ideal, so they wore loose tunics, practical but judged. Illuminated manuscripts show wasp-waisted women, half art, half dream, while girls trained with books on their heads or boards strapped to their backs for spine-cracking posture. In Castile, some wore iron frames under skirts for perfect poise. Think medieval Spanx, but clankier. Hilarious hack. No laces? Paint shadowy lines on your skin to fake a slimmer waist. Medieval contouring at its finest. Other stuff padding at hips or shoulders for a pear-shaped flex. In Flanders, bum rolls, padded crescents tied around hips, gave skirts a cartoonish bounce. Epic embarrassment. At a 1370s feast, a merchant's wife overstuffed her bum roll, waddling like a goose. Her rival quipped, she's smuggling a barrel, and the nickname Barrel Best stuck for decades. Another lass, too tightly laced, split her gown mid-dance, flashing the court. She fled, but her split skirt became tavern lore. Men faced pressure too. Courtiers aimed for a lean, athletic look. Muscles were fine, but labor bulk was gauche. Belts, slung low with gem-encrusted buckles, doubled as status symbols and waist cinctures. In Italy, young lords wore padded codpieces, yes, those codpieces, to exaggerate. Well, you know, historians debate, were these body ideals universal or just elite nonsense? You're lacing up for the May Day fair, praying you don't faint before the fiddles start. Snooze, spark. Picture yourself in a tight gown, twirling at a feast. Would you loosen the laces or keep the illusion? Let the image rock you to sleep. Your feet are howling before you leave your hut. And why? Because medieval beauty demanded dainty feet, crammed into pointy-toed polanes. Shoes so long they needed whalebone tips to stay perky. We're talking 6, 12, even 24 inches past your toes. Too outrageous? You might face a fine or get your tip snipped by a smirking sheriff. Women teetered on platform patins, wooden stilts that kept skirts mud-free, but wobbled like a drunken mule. Men flaunted long toes to prove they didn't plow fields, stuffing wool, sand, or even moss to keep the shape. Legendary flop. Sir Roland of Sussex, 1390, tripped on his polanes mid-joust, splashing into a mud pit. His squire blamed curse fashion, but the crowd roared, chanting Sir Slipper for weeks. Sneaky sabotage. Jesters loved slipping pebbles or acorns into rivals' shoes, forcing them to hobble through banquets with forced grins. One prankster glued a lord's pole lanes afloor. Imagine the tug-of-war at dawn mass. In Venice, sumptuary laws capped toe length at 8 inches, but nobles bribed tailors for longer tips, sparking toe wars among rivals. Historians argue, were these torture devices daily wear or just for flexing at feasts? Villages stuck to sturdy boots, but at court, pointer meant posture. In muddy towns, pattens clack like castanets, announcing your arrival and your wobbly balance. You're limping through the market, blisters blooming, but your status is soaring. Dreamy dilemma. Slip into those pole lanes. Would you strut like a peacock or curse every step? Let the thought tiptoe you to sleep. Teeth tangles. Sweet decay, sour smiles. You're eyeing a tray of candied almonds, but your jaws throbbing like a war drum. In medieval Europe, teeth told tales. Sugar, rarer than unicorn tears, was a rich person's vice, so blackened. Crumbling teeth bizarrely screamed, "I'm filthy rich." Some ladies faked it, smearing charcoal to mimic elite decay, because nothing says fancy like a rotting grin. In England's late 1400s, sugar tooth rot was so chic. One poet called it the noble's badge. Dental care? Chew twigs, rinse with vinegar, or scrub with ground oyster shells. Toothache? The barber surgeon's pliers await, with no numbing, just a swig of ale and a prayer to St. Apollonia, patron of teeth. Gap teeth dubbed witches' windows. We're lucky in France, even flirty. In Brittany, a gap was Cupid's gate, luring suitors. Gross cure. One remedy tied a live frog to your jaw to draw pain. Spoiler. It just made you smell like a swamp. Another swore garlic tucked in your cheek worked. Good luck wooing anyone after. In Wales, rubbing teeth with sage was said to whiten them, but it mostly tasted like regret. Odd obsession. Kids in some villages knocked out a tooth for luck, grinning gap-toothed at betrothals. Historians wonder, were bad teeth shrugged off, or did folks envy the rich's rot? You're chomping tough rye, praying your molars hold out. Snooze spiel. Flash a gap, lucky smile in your mind's eye. Would you own it or hide it? Let the image lull you to rest. Brow bonanza. Pluck paint or perish. Your brows are too normal. In late medieval Europe, brows were a battlefield. Nobles plucked or shaved them to wisps, stretching that forehead to heavenly heights. Paintings show queens with brows like faint clouds, pure and posh. Think Margaret of Anjou's serene gaze. But in Italy and Spain, bold, painted brows stole the show, drawn with soot-burnt almonds or lamp-blackened arches that screamed, "Behold my drama." Brow-thinning recipes were wild. Honey, vinegar, or yikes. Pumice stone, leaving your face raw as a butcher's block. Some painted brows in crazy shapes, like startled sparrows or crescent moons. Men dabbled, shading brows for portraits to look soulful. In Florence, young lords plucked for a poet's brow, signed dramatically at feasts. Facepalm fiasco. Lady Cecily of Devon, 1440, leaned too close to a candle while plucking, singeing her brow clean off. She painted a wobbly line for a month, earning snickers and the nickname Crooked Cecily. Sassy style. In Mediterranean towns, unibrows were sensual, dubbed lovers' bridges. Northerners mocked them as caterpillar faces, but rebels rocked them. Village gals kept thick brows to catch sweat, scoffing at noble fads. Historians ponder, were bare brows about holiness or courtly flexing? You're tweezing, praying for perfection. Dreamy dare. Picture your medieval brows, ghostly, bold, or unibrowed. What's your pick? Let it shape your dreams. Skincare shenanigans. Glow or gross. Your skin's your canvas. And medieval skincare was a high-stakes gamble. Blemishes screamed poor or sinful, so you're slathering lead paste, chalk, or bone dust mixed with rose water for a flawless mask and a slow death. Herbal rinses. Lavender, mint, chamomile. Soothed, but others, like snail slime, frog spawn, or bat blood, promised miracles with a stench to match. In Provence, snail goo was Venus's dew, slathered for radiance. Nobles dry bathed, rubbing herb-soaked linens to dodge water's evil humors. Peasants splashed in streams when they could, but dirt was life. In monasteries, monks used almond oil to mimic saintly glow, while nuns swore by milk baths when they could snag some. Wacky ritual. Celestial water, dawn dew collected with a chant, was said to erase flaws. Magic or just wet. In Scotland, some rubbed snow on cheeks for a winter blush, risking frostbite. Nasty nickname. Sir Roger Lincoln, dubbed Pock's face, hid scars under lead cream, only collapsed at a 1410 tourney from poisoning. His rival quipped, "Beauty slew him before I could." In villages, acne was devil's kisses, but wise women sold comfort salves to fight it. Historians argue, was skincare empowerment or a trap? For some, it was control over flaws. For others, a toxic cage. You're scrubbing, dodging dirt, and dreaming of a clear face. Snooze spark. Imagine your medieval skincare. Snail goo, rose water, or snow. What's your potion? Let it soothe you to sleep. Royal razzle-dazzle. Trends, tantrums, and tirades. You're at court, and the queen's new braid is hotter gossip than a dragon's hoard. Royals ruled the beauty game. Pale skin, long hair, belts dripping gems, and everyone scrambled to copy. When and a Brittany's ears peeked out in portraits, elf ears became chic overnight. Henry VIII's burly frame, courtiers padded doublets to fake his bulk, waddling like overstuffed geese. In Castile, Isabella's green eyes sparked a craze for emerald-tinted veils. Portraits, tapestries, and coins spread these trends of villages, where kids carved dolls to match princesses. But rebels stirred drama. Some duchesses ditched finery for plain shifts, shocking courtiers. A 1490s bohemian lady wore men's hose to hunt, earning gasps in a ballad, The Hose Huntress. Petty prank. The queen spaniel rocked silk ribbons, dodging sumptuary laws. One lord glued gems to his mule for laughs, banned from court for a month. In France, a jester swapped a lady's hairnet with a fishing net, sparking chaos at vespers. Bold move. A Welsh lady shaved her head to dodge marriage, donating her locks to a church. Her suitor bolted, but bards sang her tale for centuries. Historians debate, did royal trends inspire or crush? Your eye in the courtly parade, wondering if you conform or go rogue. Dreamy dilemma. Picture yourself at court, mimicking the king or breaking rules. What's your move? Let it dance through your dreams. Quirky charms. Freaky features reign. Your reflection shows a dimpled cheek. Blessing or hex. Medieval folks loved quirks. Dimples meant joy. A unibrow signaled brains in Spain, but mockery in Scotland. Moles? One was flirty. Too many, and you're dodging witch trial glares. Gap teeth were lucky in France. Red hair magical yet cursed in Slavic tales. In Ireland, freckles were fairy kisses, but in Germany, toad spots. Charms like coral beads, churchyard dirt, or rabbit feet promised perfect skin. Some rubbed snow on babies' faces for luck. Cute or creepy. In Hungary, a hooked nose was royal, but in Denmark, it sparked snickers. Odd obsession. A knight's hawkish snout earned him Sir Beak, yet he wooed a duchess with his wit. In Norway, a crooked smile was Loki's grin, charming or cunning. Superstition scoop. Sleeping with a hazel twig under your pillow's smooth wrinkles. In Sicily, rubbing olive oil on eyelids was said to open the soul's windows. Historians wonder, did quirks shape fates, or were they tavern talk? You're tracing your dimples, wondering what they'd mean in a medieval inn. Snooze spiel. Imagine your quirk, mole, gap, or dimple, winning hearts or sparking whispers. What's your story? Let it lull you. Scent seduction. Smells that slay or slay you. The air's a stew of lavender, smoke, and yep, cow dung. In medieval Europe, scent was your secret weapon. Nobles dab rose water, musk, or ambergris to scream, I'm posh, while peasants crush mint, sage, or wild thyme for a festival glow. Bathing? Risky. Water might let in bad spirits. Instead, you're rubbing herbal linens, dusting lavender powder, or tucking clove sachets in your sleeves. In wealthier homes, floors were strewn with rose petals for a fragrant crunch underfoot. Pomanders, spiked oranges stuffed with spices, dangled from belts, warding off plague and wowing the crowd. Even pillows got rose water spritzes for sweet dreams. In Islamic-influenced Iberia, oud oil was a sultry flex costing more than a horse. Smelly scandal. Lord Hugh of Essex's musk-soaked cloak cleared a 1430 banquet hall. His wife quipped, "He smells richer than he is." A rival doused his hat with skunk oil. Hugh didn't notice till Mass. Funky fix. Eating parsley-sweetened sweat, but garlic? Kiss killer. In Poland, chewing fennel seeds was breath savior. Historians debate. Were medieval noses tougher, or did they fight stink with every herb? You're sniffing, hoping your scent says noble, not stable. Dreamy dare. Pick your medieval scent, rose, clove, or oud. What's your signature? Let it waft you to sleep. Makeup mayhem. Paint your face, risk your fate. You're brushing lead paste on your cheeks. Praying it hides freckles and doesn't send you to the angels. Medieval makeup was a high wire act. White powders for skin, cochineal beetle for rosy cheeks, soot or coal for fluttery lashes. Some rub beets or berries for a natural flush. Others risked mercury for a killer glow. In Venice, glassmakers sold aqua di fana, a deadly arsenic blend for radiant skin, often a murderess's tool. Too much paint? The church branded you a Jezebel. Too little? You're fading into the tapestries. In monasteries, monks used berry juice to blush up for saintly portraits, claiming it was God's palate. Sneaky sabotage. At a 1450s feast, a rival swapped Lady Maud's rouge for soot. She strutted in with black cheeks, oblivious, until a mirror sparked her shriek. In retaliation, Maud hid fish oil in her rival's powder. Smelly revenge. Bold beauty. Village girls mixed berry juice with lard for lip gloss, laughing at noble powders. In Scotland, woad paste doubled as war paint and blush, blurring beauty in battle. Historians argue, was makeup defiance or leash? You're dabbing rouge, hoping it lasts a dance. Snooze spark. Picture your medieval makeup, beat lips, coal eyes, or lead glow. What's your look? Let it paint your dreams. Church's beauty brawl. Holy glow or hellfire. You're in church. And the priest glaring at your ribbon braid. Beauty was a tightrope in medieval Christianity. God's gift or Satan's snare. Saints glowed with pale perfection, but vanity was a sin. Nuns rinsed with rose water to mimic holy radiance, while preachers ran against mirrors as devil's portals. In convents, some shaved their heads to gift beauty to God, earning praise but chilly scalps. Some saints, like Agnes, rubbed ashes on their faces to dodge suitors, earning halos for humility. Ordinary folks, they blessed ribbons with holy water, balancing faith and flair. In pilgrimages, women wore saintly veils to look pious yet pretty. Holy hack. Mirrors engraved with prayers let you primp and pray. Medieval multitasking. In Spain, rosaries doubled as hair beads, sacred and stylish. Rebel nun. Sister Clara of Tours wove flowers into her veil, claiming God loves beauty. She scrubbed floors for a month, but inspired village girls to do the same. Historians debate. Did the church cage beauty or set it free? You're praying your new hat doesn't land you in confession. Dreamy dilemma. Balance piety and prettiness. Hide your braid or flaunt it. What's your choice? Let it guide your dreams. Airy tale fever. Dreams, curses, and charms. You're by a crackling fire, hearing tales of princesses with snow-white skin and eyes like stars. Medieval stories set wild standards. Swan maidens, golden knights. Beauties whose glow stopped wars. Girls left flowers at springs for fairy tale luck, while bards sang of love-breaking curses. In Slavic tales, Rusalka's spirits lured men with shimmering hair, but their beauty was a watery trap. Prideful beauties faced doom. Maidens turned to beasts, saved by tears or true love. In Arthurian legends, Guinevere's radiance sparked wars, proving beauty was a blade. Magical myth. Sleeping with a tale book under your pillow promised beauty. No proof, but cozy vibes. In Cornwall, girls braided fairy knots in their hair for luck, tangling combs but winning hearts. Tragic twist. A Breton tale worn of a vain knight whose mirror trapped a soul. Historians wonder, did tales comfort or crush? You're dreaming of a moon-faced heroine. Maybe it's you. Snooze spiel. Picture yourself in a fairy tale. Hero, villain, or cursed? What's your role? Let it lull you. Accessories attack. Bling, bags, and baubles. You're pinning a brooch, hoping it screams fancy without breaking sumptuary laws. Medieval beauty wasn't just skin and hair. Accessories were your megaphone. Nobles draped in silk veils, embroidered gloves, and gem-encrusted girdles. Belts slung low with pouches for coins or relics. In France, chatelaine chains dangled keys, mirrors, or tiny knives, proving you were in a household enslaved. Peasants? They rocked linen kerchiefs, wooden beads, or braided straw belts. Practical but proud. Hats were drama queens. Noble women's hennons, conical headdresses, towered like spires, draped with veils that tangled in doorways. Men chaperones, twisted into turban-like shapes, doubled as scarves or hoods. In villages, straw hats kept sun off, but sparked noble snickers. Fashion faux pas. Lady Eleanor Gloucester's hennon toppled into a 1460 banquet soup tureen, splashing lords and sparking soup hat ballads. Clever craft. Village girls sewed fake pearls. Fish scales glued to wood onto kerchiefs, fooling market traders. Historians debate were accessory status or self-expression. You're pinning a brooch, hoping it outshines your rivals. Dreamy dare. Pick your medieval accessory, hennon, girdle, or straw hat. What's your flex? Let it sparkle in your dreams. Jewelry jamboree. Gems, junk, and jinxes. Your neck's heavy with a borrowed necklace. Praying it screams wealth, not witchcraft. Jewelry was medieval beauty's crown jewel. Nobles dripped in gold chains, ruby rings, and pearl chokers, each piece a status bomb. In England, posy rings engraved with love poems were betrothal must-haves. Peasants wore copper bangles, bone pendants, or pilgrim badges. Tin trinkets from shrines like Canterbury. Jewelry carried mojo. Amethyst warded off drunkenness. Sapphires promised chastity, and jet beads blocked curses. In Germanic regions, amber necklaces were sun tears, curing ailments. Too much bling? You risked church scolds or thieves' knives. Bling blunder. Lord said it of Norfolk lost a ruby ring in a 1415 privy, sparking a week-long dig. His wife quipped, his wealth's in the dung now. Curse charm. A 1450s French necklace was said to choke vain wearers. Its owner, a vain viscountess, died mysteriously. Coincidence or hex? Historians argue with jewelry power or peril. You're clasping a pendant, hoping it's lucky. Snooze sparked. Picture your medieval bling, gold chain, bone bead, or curse ring. What's your pick? Let it gleam in your dreams. Tattoo tales. Ink, identity, and infamy. You're eyeing a sailor's inked arm, wondering if a mark would make you bold or banished. Tattoos weren't mainstream, but they existed. Crusaders inked crosses to ensure Christian burial. Pilgrims marked shrine visits with Jerusalem crosses. And sailors etched anchors for luck. In Slavic and Norse fringes, women tattooed runes or spirals for fertility or protection, using ash and needles. Most were hidden under tunics, revealed only to kin or lovers. The church frowned, calling ink pagan scars, but some defied it. In ports like Genoa, inked women were sea witches, alluring yet feared. Peasants rarely risked it. Scars from work were their tattoos. Inked incident. A 1380s pilgrim's botched cross tattoo swelled into a blob, earning him brother blot at Vespers. Bold mark. A Norse woman's rune tattoo, uncovered at a 1420 trial. Saved her from witchcraft charges. Her village swore it was Odin's blessing. Historians debate, were tattoos rebellion or ritual? You're pondering a secret mark, weighing courage against gossip. Dreamy dilemma. Imagine your medieval tattoo. Cross, rune, or none. What's your ink? Let it etch your dreams. Bathing brouhaha. Clean or cursed. You're sniffing your armpit, debating a dip in the river. Bathing was medieval beauty's paradox. Nobles feared water's evil humors, yet craved cleanliness. Wealthy homes had wooden tubs with herb-steeped water, shared by families. Ew. Public bathhouses, like Paris's 200+, were social hubs where nobles soaked, gossiped, and flirted, but churchmen called them some stews. Peasants splashed in streams or wiped down with damp cloths, dubbed poor man's baths. In Islamic-influenced Sicily, Hammams offered steam and scrubs, envied by northerners. Herbs like sage or rose petals purified water. In monasteries, monks bathed to mimic Christ's humility. Still, many believe frequent baths weakened you. Once a month was plenty. Steamy scandal. A 1440's bathhouse brawl in Bruges saw a lord's wig float away, revealing his bald head. Laughter echoed for weeks. Scented soak. Nobles sprinkled violet powder post-bath, while peasants rubbed mint leaves. Historians argue, was bathing luxury or necessity? You're debating a dip, hoping it doesn't curse your soul. Snooze spiel. Picture your medieval bath, tub, stream, or mint wipe. What's your cleanse? Let it wash you to dreams. Village vibes. Ordinary folks, epic beauty. You're a baker, hands flour dusted, face sun-kissed. Courtly ideals, silky hair, tiny waists, are a distant jest. Yet beauty's spark reaches your hamlet. You dab berry juice on lips for a wedding, braid with scraps for luck. Some mock noble fads, painting fake moles to tease the rich or crowning the gruffest lad affairs. At harvest feasts, straw crowns outshine courtly lace, and laughter's a true glow. Clever cover, girls' muddied faces to dodge leering lords. Beauty as armor. One last smeared so to scare a suitor, earning black best and village cheers. Festive flex. A 1470's ugly king contest saw a shepherd win for his lopsided grin, crowned with turnips. Historians argue, did standards bind villages, or did they rewrite the rules? You're dancing under starlight, your smile brighter than any crown. Dreamy dare. Imagine your village beauty hack, berries, mud, or straw. What's your charm? Let it glow in your dreams. The final flicker. The fire's down to embers. The night's a soft hum. You're curled up, safe in your skin, far from lead creams, wobbly patents, and cursed rings. Medieval beauty was a wild chase. Poisonous pace, fairy tale hopes, churchly scolds, but was human, too. The baker's flowery grin, the shepherd's wind-red cheeks, the weaver's callous hands spinning love into every thread. These were beautiful.